Friends, colleagues, countrymen, my fellow Americans, thank you for joining us for today's very first edition, our first session of the Recruitment Bootcamp. We're so excited to have you with us on this journey. I'll say it just one time, it's 13 weeks, but don't be scared by that. It's going to be fun. Thank you so much for joining us today for this kickoff call. I know people are sort of writing in that they're logging on and joining us, but we're excited to have all of you and excited to get this thing going. I am Allison Abe-Sakura. I'm with the Association of Clinicians for the Underserved. Don't worry, you'll be able to hear a lot from me this week. But we are a national nonprofit focused on recruiting and retaining clinicians in underserved areas to ensure access to healthcare for all Americans. So that's what ACU is about. You're here because of the STAR Center, and that's a specific project that we have funded by HRSA's Bureau of Primary Health Care. So the same bureau that funds your health center grant, the same bureau that funds your state and regional primary care association, they also fund a group of national organizations called National Cooperative Agreements. If you've never heard it, please Google it, not right now because this is a very exciting presentation, but later, Google National Cooperative Agreements, and you'll see there's a list of 20 national organizations that are here to help you at all kinds of things that you need to have real excellence in your health center operation. So we're funded by the Bureau, and so anytime you see the STAR Center, you'll know that it's related to that project, and that means, wait for it, friends, everything related to the STAR Center is free. Yep, I said it. This is not an after lunch coma you've slipped into. Everything is free. It costs $0, and that's because the Bureau is basically already paid for it. We work with them to decide what services we want to provide to you as health centers, and then it costs you nothing. All you have to do is show up and enjoy. So we're going to be on this specific recruitment bootcamp project together for the next little bit, but we have a whole bunch of other tools, trainings, resources that are all available for you at the STAR Center website, and that's at the bottom of all of your slides. It's www.chcworkforce.org. So just a few notes about the webinar before we kind of actually jump into things. One, just to note that we are recording, which means I can make some colorful jokes, but probably you should not in the chat box, just FYI. And for the handful of folks who weren't able to join us live today, we are making this recording available. We'll tell you where to get that later, but both the slides themselves and the webinar recording will be available. We would love if you would ask questions as we go along. This is really our intro kickoff call, so hopefully we've explained everything in fine enough detail, but we hope that you'll shout out if you have questions. You can talk to us in the chat box, which is down in the bottom right corner. And of course, we want you to have fun. Luckily for everybody, these webinars are only 30 minutes long, so not too much time, just enough to give you a little break in the day to talk with us and learn a little something and get settled in. And so we hope you have a great time with us. I can't stop myself from making jokes, even bad ones. So luckily, because webinars are silent, I'll just assume that you are all laughing along. If you have any questions or you can't hear something or you have any problems whatsoever, feel free to use the chat in the questions box that are in the right-hand go-to panel. And you can also, if for some reason you're having actual problems with go-to and can only use your email, you can email our staffer, Mariah Blake, and her email is up here on the screen, mblake@clinicians.org. And she'll get you all set up and make sure that you're able to access everything. So who are these folks who are going to be working with you the next few weeks? I am delighted to bring you what I like to call the dream team. I'm not sure if that's actually trademarked by the NBA or anything, but I'll call them the dream team. And that's our faculty for this recruitment boot camp. So I'm the one right there at the top. It's been a pleasure my whole life being an A and an A, so I make it to the top of lists. But that's me. You'll be hearing from me on a couple of these webinars and through various other experiences. And I'm going to let the rest of the team say hi. We hope that this is going to be a really collaborative, relationship-based kind of experience for you, and so we want you to hear our voices and get a sense of who we are. So I'll let Mariah introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mariah Blake. I'm the program manager here at ECU. I am the voice behind all of the emails you've been receiving and also the chat and question box today. So reach out if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any of that, and I'll do my best to help you out. Great to have you.
All right,
Thanks,
I'm
Mariah.
Ann Hogan. Yeah. Okay, I'm Ann Hogan. I will be getting to know a lot of you through the webinars and through the discussion board, which will be discussed later. I am a previous VP of HR for a health center. I've done 20 years in the health center and recruited just about any kind of provider or staff that you can think of. So I welcome all of you and look forward to getting to know all of you a little bit better.
Thanks, Ann. I'm Suzanne Spear, and I am fairly new with ACU and the STAR Center, but I am so excited to be here and be a part of the faculty along with the other members of the Dream Team. Prior to coming to ACU and the STAR Center, I spent 4.5 years at the Virginia PCA doing clinician recruitment. So I'm super excited to be with you guys on this journey.
Thank you, everyone. So we have all of our contact information here for you, and you've received some of it and you'll get more of it, so don't worry if you haven't scrabbled it down, but please call on us, basically any of us at any time. We chat a lot with each other, so if you reach out to one of us, you'll get the collective expertise of all of us, so feel free to get in touch with any of us as we're going through this whole experience. Here's me, just so you can get a sense of the face. Well, this is actually me one pair of glasses ago, just FYI. So you're going to be seeing our faces mostly during office hours, which we'll talk about. So again, we really want this to be a sense of us talking with each other and having good communications and relationships. So we hope to see your faces on various video chats as well. So the Recruitment Bootcamp, what is that, you say? What are we doing? Well, we appreciated all of your time applying for this Recruitment Bootcamp. We hope learning a little bit about it through the application process was interesting for you and clarified some things. But we just wanted to really start off talking with you about what we're trying to do here and why we're so excited to have you. Really, this Recruitment Bootcamp is about reaching out to folks who are sort of like-minded and in like situations so that they can really, one, focus on building relationships with each other. You know, I don't know what your experiences are. My experiences really are that sometimes HR, recruitment staff, anybody tasked with recruitment can sometimes be a little bit isolated. There's not necessarily a lot of trainings for you in the field, and you don't necessarily get to talk with a lot of people who do your kind of job. So relationships are the #1 thing we want to start with here. I'm happy to say that we have folks from 18 states as part of this cohort. So all across the country, you have folks who are doing a similar job to you. We really wanted to focus this cohort of folks on people at smaller health centers. And so represented in the cohort, we have people coming from health centers with 15 staff, all the way up to about 275 people. And we have folks with all ranges of experience in terms of their current position and overall recruitment experience. I think the person newest to this kind of work is someone who's been there 3 months. So there's going to be a lot to learn from each other, and hopefully a lot to learn from us as well. And so really building relationships is the big cornerstone piece of making this all work, and why we hope this learning experience is going to be different for you than just popping onto a webinar series or doing some self-paced courses online. We really want you to have a good experience of building some peer networks. We also then want you to build processes, so that's really having good steps in place and actual processes for recruitment. So as you read in the application materials, this is really kind of a back to basics recruitment processes 101. And so many of you have something, many of you have nothing, many of you have something in between. So we're going to walk you through all the recruitment processes that are important when you're trying to bring new clinicians onto your team, and make sure that you have good documentation and good planning in place. And that really gets us to the last piece, which is having a recruitment strategy. Overall, everything that we're doing here at the STAR Center is about having health centers have a data-driven strategy for their clinician recruitment and retention. And so really having some good processes and a good sense of overall needs is really integral to you having that strategy. You know, my own history, I started off many moons ago now working at a primary care association in Pennsylvania, where it was my responsibility to do direct recruitment for health centers all across the state. And I've got to tell you, I was green. I knew pretty much nothing about health centers and nothing about recruitment and retention. And I remember this feeling of thinking like, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I help health centers do this? And, you know, we're here in this process, and your cohort is here with you to make you not feel so alone in that and to help you not feel so overwhelmed. So we're really going to be building all of this together so that at the end of this process, you're going to come out with a clear recruitment plan and a good sense of how that plan fits in with an overall recruitment and retention strategy. And you're going to have a bunch of friends who have gone through it with you, who you'll be able to keep in touch with after this is all over and call with kind of your recruitment questions and have a team of people that are behind you. So we have a couple of tools at our disposal to help you figure this out along the way. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about all the different ways we're going to be interacting with you and that you're going to be interacting with each other, so you have a sense of what to expect over the next couple of months. So the first piece is webinars. So congratulations, you've done it. You've mastered the fine art of attending a recruitment bootcamp webinar. You're going to be enrolled. You don't have to log into anything or sign up for anything. Mariah and our team here are going to be enrolling you into the actual webinars. So you will be getting links the way that you received a link this week for each webinar. All we ask is you go ahead and preemptively hold those spots in your calendar, because you won't get that Outlook invitation until you've been enrolled, and we're going to do it kind of a webinar by webinar basis. So these are just designed to be 30-minute webinars where we talk with you, give you information, and you get a chance to listen to us for a little bit and ask any major questions you have. So that's the listening part of the boot camp. And so that's going to be every other week. You're going to have a 30-minute webinar. And the weeks that you don't have webinars, you're going to have a couple of things that are more interactive for you to do by yourself and for you to do with each other. So that next one is assignments. So every other week you will receive from us via email an assignment, and that's something for you to work on by yourself. So we're going to tell you a little bit about it in the webinar, and then you're going to get an actual assignment. Sometimes it's going to be, you know, web-based evaluation or self-assessment tool. Most of the time you're going to get Word documents that you have to fill in for yourself. And what we're actually doing is we have a whole recruitment process already put together, and so we've broken it into little pieces for you, so you don't have to feel overwhelmed. You don't have to look at all of it at one time. We're going to give you kind of the little piece that you need at that time so that you can really focus on that and build something that you'll have internally. So that's what those assignments are going to be. And on the weeks that you have assignments, we also want you to talk with each other. So you'll be getting access to our online discussion board. It is, I'm excited to say, brand new. And so that will be a chance for you to, you'll have to talk with each other. You guys will have each week 2 discussion questions that you have to answer. So those will be posted on the discussion board. You'll all have a log on, and you can join there and talk with each other, share something of your own in response to the discussion questions, and then reply to each other. You also have the opportunity on the discussion board to share things like documents, policies, procedures. So as we dig into the real content of this course over the coming months, as you develop something or you have something cool you want to share with your cohort, you can share it there, and learn from each other there. That same week that we have the assignments and the discussion boards that's when we have the last piece, which is our office hours. So I want to say it now, and I'm going to say it several times. Office hours are optional. The office hour is basically like having a web-based office where the doors open and all 4 faculty are sitting in the office, and you can walk in and walk out at any time. So basically for an hour every other week, your faculty are going to be sitting in an online web meeting, and that's your hour to say, oh, I have experts at my disposal to ask them a quick question or a long question. If you have a long question, that's good too. But basically, if you are looking at the assignment and you say, I don't know how to fill out this table, or I'm not sure what this means, or I have this done, but I wanted to ask about something else, about this general topic, that office hour is a time for you to just pop in and talk with us. We'll all be on our webcam so you can see us and see our faces and see us as human beings. And then also, if a bunch of your peers and your cohort are in the room at the same time, you'll get the benefit of hearing their questions too. So just to recap, every other week there's going to be a 30-minute webinar. And the weeks in between those, you're going to have an assignment, and you're going to have some discussion board questions to do with the option of popping into office hours to talk with us. If you feel like you're on top of it, if you feel like you're busy, you don't want to ask any questions, no problem. And then we'll start again the next week with webinars. So that's really the main tools we'll be using. In terms of the time commitment, I'm saying we're actually being serious about it only being 30 minutes a week. This is a real thing. I know you guys are busy. I know you guys have a lot going on. Again, we really focused this cohort on folks who kind of were one person or small team HR shops. So really this is 30 minutes a week, and we're going to be really strongly committed to that principle. So why a recruitment plan, and why is that the focus of our recruitment boot camp? Well, really, as I mentioned, we're really focused on data-driven strategy. As a person who has done recruitment, I know what it feels like to feel like I don't know what to do. And then once I know what to do, let me do everything I can possibly think of and hope that one of those things works. So a recruitment plan is designed to help you do your work more efficiently. So it provides some structure. In general, I used to talk about having a if I get hit by a bus book. So a lot of folks that we know, even folks who have been doing this a long time, they know all the steps involved in recruitment and where everybody is. But if, let's say, they won the lottery and decided to, retire to Hawaii immediately the next day, there's not necessarily a record of all that's supposed to go on. So this is going to provide structure and provide you some structure, and also provide structure to your organization as kind of a backup system. Having this full recruitment plan is going to allow you to have actual data-driven decisions. So instead of, for example, saying, I'm going to post this job 8 places and then interview anybody I get and go through that process, this is going to build a structure so that you have to keep track of, wait, which job boards really did work for me for that specific position, and how do I stick with those moving forward? That way you're working smarter, not harder. It's also going to create space for innovation. I've heard people sometimes say that they don't like having a recruitment plan because they feel like it hems them in, and they can't, then they won't be able to try new things. But the recruitment plan is really kind of a dynamic set of structures. And so if you want to try something new, all you have to do is add in a new table and try that out, and then document, did that work or not? And then if it worked, great, it stays in there forever, or at least until it stops working. And then if it doesn't work, you can say, you know what, that didn't work. I'm going to take it out and maybe put in something new I want to try. And the last thing is that it's really going to increase your organizational capacity. So this is 30 minutes a week, which I know is precious time. But by the time we're through this, you're going to have a real plan that you can say to other people, hey, I'm going to be out this week, or we have an on-site HRSA visit, or something else is going on. Here's exactly what needs to happen with this right now, and I need you to do that. And so in general, having the plan is going to allow you to have increased organizational capacity and do what you're doing, again, more efficiently and hopefully not as much just grueling hours. So we're going to start really with a self-assessment tool. And that's just to get you the lay of the land. There's a lot to think through. We're going to be working on a lot of things together, but the benefit of learning it this way and in this boot camp style is so that we can walk you through where to go. So we're going to start with this self-assessment tool. It's to give both you and us a lay of the land in terms of where are you starting from and where might you need some additional assistance. It's designed to really focus on a couple of things. So one is, where are you now? And you know, what do you have already? Do you have a recruitment plan? Do you have a retention plan? What's your situation at your health center with workforce? It's going to say, what additional questions should you ask? So just the process of going through the self-assessment tool, hopefully will start to stir some ideas in you and say, oh, they're asking me if we've done this thing, and I've never even thought about doing this thing. Maybe we should think about it. Let me ask more about that. And it's also designed to give you immediate feedback with some initial recommendations. So this is a web-based tool. We can provide you the PDF ahead of time so you can see what all the questions are before you start it. But the web-based tool is, you know, it's amazing living in the future because you can put in your information and go through that, and we've set up the back end with specific feedback. So depending on your answer to question number 5, you'll get specific feedback in an email to you to say, hey, you said that you haven't done strategic planning for your workforce in the last 3 years. This is what we recommend and why. And so this is going to give you a good sense overall of what a comprehensive workforce plan should cover, a good sense of what are some initial things you need to work on, and we'll give you some immediate feedback to get started. The self-assessment tool covers a number of things, and I'm just going to kind of flash them up here so you get the sense. I don't want you to be too concerned. It does, in fact, take a little less than 30 minutes, about 20 minutes. We've heard from people who've taken it already. It covers all things like provider capacity, your infrastructure there, your recruitment plan, your retention plan, leadership, compensation, and some other strategies. So again, kind of the whole of your workforce picture. So just remember, this is just a start. If you need to make your best guesses, this is not designed to be like something that we're gonna, you know, hold your feet to the fire and say, you said you had 6 FTE on this position and you really have 5.5. I mean, this is really just to give you some starting perspective of where you are. And really it's to help us. We get a copy on the back end. So we'll be able to see, like, okay, everybody in this cohort all answered no to question number 16. Maybe that's something we should add into our own programming. So this is also something, the workforce self-assessment is something you can use to kind of gauge your progress throughout the boot camp and sort of see how you're doing as you go through. Hopefully taking the self-assessment at the beginning is going to be a much different experience than when you take it at the end, and you'll be able to say, yep, I know exactly what this is, at least, and whether or not we have it, or this is my plan to getting there. So that's really it in terms of a start. I'm not going to cover every time we do one of these. I'm not going to cover the whole of everything you need to learn. Again, this is really about giving you little pieces at a time that you as a group are going to tackle together. So we are all in this together, my friends. We're going to have a great time, I hope, getting to know each other and moving forward piece by piece. What you can expect for next week is, remember I said we're going to do webinars 1 week, that's this week, and then the other weeks we're going to have assignments, discussion boards, and optional office hours. So your assignment for next week is to actually complete that self-assessment tool. I've given you the link, but don't worry, we'll send more information on that. So you can also, we'll have you answer 2 discussion board questions. Spoiler alert, one of them is like, introduce yourself to your cohort. So these discussion board questions are not designed to be stressful or trip you up. It's really just for you to talk with each other. If you would like to, if you have a question about the self-assessment tool, if you have a question about the discussion board, if you just want to see our faces and say hi, we have our optional office hour next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and that goes for 1 hour. So that's the link here. You'll have it a number of places. You can join us to come say hi and get started with us. I hope you guys are excited as I am. You can expect to hear from us. Please look out for an email. It'll come actually through Constant Contact from Mariah or our info@CHC Workforce email. So we're going to send you an email that's going to cover everything I just talked about with the assignment, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to get there, all that kind of stuff. You're also going to get a separate email, which is going to include your login for the discussion board. So all of you have your own user accounts with your own passwords for the discussion board. So those are generated from the discussion board. You'll get those, and that's your login information. But you will get an email from us covering everything you need to do next week. But that's next week, because congratulations, you're done. You did it. This is just 30 minutes for 1 week. And that was, as I said, a real promise. So you've gotten through week 1 of Recruitment Bootcamp. I hope you feel excited about that. Pat yourself on the back. Tell your friends. I hope it was relatively painless. I will say the one thing, it's a little caveat, the one thing, if you have not completed your pre-bootcamp evaluation, please do so. The link to that came in an email from Mariah. I know we had 16 of the 25 of you have completed it, and we appreciate that. So if you've not, no worries, just try and do that this week. And then you can bask in your success of completing week 1 of Recruitment Bootcamp. I am going to stop here, exciting, with 4 minutes left on the clock, and ask if anybody has any questions about anything I've covered at all, or anything they'd like to share. You can use the little chat box at the bottom. And I'm not seeing any questions. Any questions come to you via email, Mariah?
I haven't seen anything come in just yet, but I'm standing by.
Okay. Well, then this is a whole class of overachievers, and I will let you go with 3 minutes to spare. If you think of anything, please shoot us a note. You have all of our emails. This recording and the slides will come to you, as well as info on next session. So thanks so much, everyone.